Welcome to the Marriage Puzzle Podcast with Julie and Thomas Hobby. We are marriage coaches who help couples with pain points about money, intimacy, and communication go from being overwhelmed to being secure in their marriage.
If this is your first time listening to us, thanks for checking out our podcast. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a rating and a review. Let's dive into this episode. So you just heard that intro say that we're marriage coaches. Have you ever thought, what is marriage coaching? Maybe, do I need marriage coaching? Maybe you've heard of marriage counseling and you wonder, what's the difference? Well, we're going to talk about that in this episode. Our heart is to help marriages overall. First and foremost, that's the number one thing we're trying to do. And we know it's common for people to be encouraged to go to marriage counseling if you need help with your marriage. So we decided that we should share some differences between marriage counseling and marriage coaching, which is what we do, marriage coaching. We're not here to say one is better than the other or anything like that. In fact, we believe that there's a time and a place for both, and there's plenty of marriages that need help and need different things. And so, but what we do believe is that you have to be the one to decide which way is right for you. And so we just want to talk a little bit about the differences that we believe that there are between the two of them, and what our marriage coaching does, and how beneficial it can be, and how we walk people through to help them out.
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing this podcast for almost a year, and love the couples we've gotten to work with through coaching because of this podcast. But really why we're talking about it now is because we're 4 months away from maternity leave, and it just kind of dawned on us. It's like, well, actually we had the capacity to take 2 more couples. They're private coaching, just not with another, like a group, but our calendar can take 2 couples. Now, if you're listening to this, in real time, basically in the month of May of 2022, or by May, we can take 2 couples and accomplish the 8 sessions that we offer in marriage coaching before baby comes. And that would be cool. But if not, if you're listening to this, back later, or you didn't schedule in time, we're still going to be marriage coaches even after we have our 4th child. But we'll probably go down to 1 night a week after that. And so it'll just take longer to get the 8 sessions in, but maybe that's kind of more your style. Talking maybe once a month instead of, was it twice a month that we normally do?
Yeah. So maybe you're sitting here thinking, but my marriage is healthy. I'm good. I just listened to this podcast to pick up little nuggets of information here and there that will help keep things going well. That's fine. That's okay. But I would encourage you to stay tuned through the podcast, at least learn the differences. And you might even learn some ways that marriage coaching could still be beneficial even in a healthy marriage. There's always room to grow and make your marriage better. So we're going to go ahead and kick things off. Do you want to talk about the counseling side first and say, why marriage coaching may not be the right choice for you?
Yeah, I would say marriage coaching would not be the right choice if you just want someone to vent to. Because counseling often focuses on hurts and issues from the past without giving a clear direction on where to go. It may not necessarily have a goal for that session, although it could be helpful. Just without a goal, you can go on as long as you want and vent as long as you want. And so I would say, if that's what you want to do, then that would be more.
Or if that's what you need.
Yeah, and I think that's, there are needs of, like, if you're on the verge of divorce, then that might be a place to start to heal with things so that you can get that vent session and begin to heal before you get coached on moving forward. I also think counselors are really wise in working with personality disorders. Like if that is affecting your marriage, then a counselor might be more specialized to work with couples navigating that. But that's kind of why there's just difference between counseling sessions and then what we do as marriage coaches.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think that in both scenarios, the counselor or the coach is going to listen. I just slammed into my mic, talking with my hands. I think in both scenarios, the counselor or the coach is going to listen to you and try and hear you and help. I think that with coaching, though, like you mentioned about counseling, the sessions don't specifically have a goal necessarily. In coaching, we do. In coaching, we are here to help you achieve a result. That may be saving your marriage, that may be having a better marriage, or feeling happier or more secure in your marriage. Or like I said at the top, if you feel like you have a healthy marriage right now, if you're listening to this podcast and feel that way, that may be great, but you can always grow and you can always get better, and there's always something unexpected that may be coming. And so preparing yourself with the right toolbox to be able to move forward when those situations come up, that can be really helpful. Or maybe your spouse doesn't feel the same way you do. Maybe they don't feel they're in a healthy marriage, but you do. So there's some discussion that needs to happen with you and your spouse. And maybe that's unknown to you right now, but you may need to try and just make sure that both of you are on the same page there.
And the goals that come out of marriage coaching, I mean, it starts with that, right? We try to, at least the couples we work with, we try to help them kind of articulate their goals, and then we can cater our sessions for that. But regardless of if you're coming with those said goals, or we kind of help and come up with those together, there's a guided plan to get you to your goal, to achieve that. We have a curriculum that we follow. So there's, guided sessions, there's actual exercises that we walk you through on the Zoom calls.
Which we're going to talk a little bit about later in just a couple minutes.
If you want to wrap your mind around what that looks like. And because, sometimes the other spouse isn't on board, or they think we're good, which that'd be good, but can you get your marriage to great? It can always be better. And so I love the exercises that are just like tangible things that we teach and then even can assign for you to work on. So other reasons why coaching might be the right fit for you is with social media and our podcast. Hopefully that helps you get to know us. We just actually did a discovery call with someone that said, I listen to your podcast every week. I feel like I know you guys. And that was kind of cool to hear, of like, that's right. I mean, I'm sure there's fancier websites for other people than we have, but we try to just be really real on our podcast. I mean, Thomas just hit his mic and we're not going to edit that out. Right. We just show up real. And social media, we'd love to interact and have a lot of direct messages there too, where we chat with people. So
yeah, and we've put in this work ourselves. We've worked on our marriage for 15 plus years now, and often use a lot of the exercises that we coach people on to keep tuning up our marriage as we go along. We offer a 2-on-2 perspective. A lot of times counseling sessions have, more of a 1-on-2 situation. But we offer a 2-on-2 perspective. So you're getting a husband and wife talking to a husband and wife. And that's, one of the things that we pride ourselves on and that we really enjoy, because there are two perspectives in a marriage. And I think that's a really beneficial thing that we can help you with.
Yeah, and I'd say a coach, like a marriage coach, is like a personal trainer. They walk alongside of you to help you achieve a desired result. But if you think of that word coach, again, thinking of where your marriage is today and where it could be even better, I think of Michael Jordan a lot of this, of like, even Michael Jordan, as good as a athlete as he was, he always had a coach to help get him better. And that's kind of what we love, to walk alongside marriages to help take what they have with their relationship and help make it stronger and last longer.
Yeah, and looking at it from that point of view, all the things that Michael Jordan was able to learn from his coach or coaches all throughout his life and career, he was able to keep those tools and keep moving forward and perfecting those, even when that he was no longer working with that coach anymore. He still learned things along the way. Again, not trying to say that in a way that you're not going to learn things from a counseling. That really depends on where you're at with your relationship and what your actual needs are. But from a coach perspective, you will learn things. You will walk away with tools. We can say that for a fact. And you can take those tools on down the road and continue using them and perfecting them and working on them and making your marriage better along the way.
So 3 quick things to consider before choosing marriage coaching, and then we'll get into what Thomas and Julie do as marriage coaches, because I think like we're certified in the curriculum, but I think it's still unique of what we deliver. But 3 things to consider before choosing marriage coaching. One would be, what is your goal? Literally just post on social media of that. Like, what is your goal for your marriage? Do you have a goal? Do you need us to help you come up with that goal, or can you guys establish that together? 2, how ready are you to heal and do the work to change things? And then finally, you need to decide whether you want to depend on a counselor or if you want to learn how to change things even after your time together is over, which would be more of the coaching route.
Yeah. And so let's dive into what we do throughout our coaching. The first thing we do is we start each couple off with an assessment. And this is going to be an objective assessment that you'll get to take. You and your spouse will actually fill it out separately. That way you're not cheating off of each other's answers or anything like that. But how it works is you will actually score your relationship from your perspective in a bunch of different categories, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. But you're going to score your own relationship, which will then give us objective results on how you and your spouse see your relationship, and it will help show us those growth areas and what needs the most improvement and what is already working well, but could still always have a little bit of improvement, where you could still learn a few things to keep things going well.
Yeah, what I love about the assessment too is it doesn't just show the growth areas of what you need to work on. It shows the strength, the top strengths in your marriage and your relationship. And sometimes I think that's a good reminder to know, there are good things and not just the bad things. And how do we make them from good to great, or those growth areas? We don't call them weaknesses. They're just opportunity for growth. And so I love that even before we coached anyone, Thomas and I took the assessment. It was very enlightening, I think, for our relationship, and we refer back to it often. And so I love that as part of this that's included. And then after that, so throughout the sessions, we have 8 sessions. We would go through those results with you because each of them tie into different topics. So session 1, for us, we like to start with relationship dynamics and communication. So communication is something we think is key in any relationship. We love talking about that and helping others. And so something you probably already heard us talk about on a podcast episode, but we use an exercise in that session called active listening. And so we have couples write down one wish that they would each like to have more of in their relationship. And then they share that wish, and they share the wish that they want to happen more often and how that would make them feel if that wish came true. And then we get them to repeat back what the other one said, both in content and feelings. They have to just say what they heard, what the other person actually said. Mm-hmm. And then they confirm that they heard correctly, or if not, they can tweak it. And so we're just kind of teaching, like, right off the bat, this active listening skill, that you don't have to jump in and solve something right away. You just have to learn to communicate, to say it, mm-hmm. and then listen and be understood.
Yeah, I think that one's really key because it sets the tone for the rest of the coaching. Mm-hmm. Gets those lines of communication open, and like you said, it allows that listening to start happening, which will also be key throughout the rest of the coaching, mm-hmm. Because that's all going to be foundational in moving forward. If we can't hear what our spouse is saying, there's no way we can improve on that. If we're not listening to how they feel, then we're really not caring about them, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of what it boils down to. If you're listening to just be able to say your next statement back, then you've got a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And so this really focuses on listening to be able to say their statement back. When someone feels heard
and understood,
then they can open up more. Then you can make forward progress. So that's key. Session 2, we talk about the personal stress profile and conflict resolution. So we're diving into what stressors are in each spouse's life, what provides them, what gives them the most amount of stress, and conflict resolution. And one of the exercises we use here is 10 steps for resolving conflict. And it's a really great exercise that we walk you through all of those 10 steps and help you to resolve a conflict.
Yeah. And know how to, outside of those calls, when conflict comes up when we're not on the phone or Zoom. But session 3, we titled it Physical and Social Wellness. So we go through a lot of just even health habits and how you feel about your partner with that. And then social as well with, either dating each other or, having other friends and couples or, guy nights, girl nights, things like that, just different dynamics in your relationship. And so we often refer to people in this session to use our weekly or monthly date night templates. And if you haven't heard us talk about those, they're available to you whether you do coaching or not with us on our website at marriagepuzzle.com. I forget which one of
I think it's /date night. We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah. But yeah, just something that, once you get married, those dynamics change and those needs change if you want to have time together or time apart. So we help navigate that in session 3.
Yeah, and in session 4, we talk about sex and affection. Those are 2 key things that go together, but they are also 2 separate things. Affection being the physical connection that you have that is non-sexual, and then sex. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to talk about those and feelings surrounding those in your relationship. And we recently did a podcast episode called Sex and Affection. Episode 31, if you want to go check that out, you can hear a little bit more about sex and affection in general, and that might give you kind of a guide into this session a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And then session 5, we talk about family. And even if you don't have kids, there's still stuff to talk about in this session. But what I like about the assessment is those results would show, if you do have kids, then it would pop up. Parenting expectations would be something we would go over in this session. If you don't have kids, it's more of just marriage expectation. But basically, in general, it's talking about family, your friends, roles, and things like that. Just a big session about your origin and, and kind of where you came from and how to establish your family. And that was something even before Thomas and I had kids, we said that from the beginning, like, we are a family, just the 2 of us, even like we're a family. We get an opportunity to pick our own traditions and, what we're going to do for how we're going to live our life outside of our parents or other family members. And I think that's really key in this session too, to help couples.
Yeah, totally. I think it helps you to really establish your family unit. Again, even if you don't have kids yet, your family unit and how you want to be viewed as a married couple.
And session 6 is a spiritual session. So again, you can do different things on the assessment, whether you do faith-based coaching with us or not. But if that's a conflict in your marriage, where if you're not on the same page spiritually, we can do a session all around that and exercises to help navigate it.
Yep. And session 7 is the financial session. This one is one of our specialties. We love doing this session. If you listen to our podcast for really any length of time, you've probably heard us say that we emphasize money, intimacy, and communication. And so financial is one of the topics that we review. In marriage coaching, you'll get a 1-week overview of finances. But the cool thing about us as marriage coaches is we have, since we dive deep into finances and that's one of our passions, we can do separate coaching on finances and take a deeper, more personalized dive into your situation to really help you out. So just going through the marriage coaching, you're going to get an overview of that no matter what, whether that's a strength area or a growth area for you. We're just going to make sure that, things are going in the right direction, but we can always take a deeper dive with this one as well.
Yeah, and then finally, but last but not least, I guess, session 8, we've titled Mapping for the Future. So we've had, all these topics, and then that last one with us is kind of like, where do we go from here? So you're not just out left to dry, setting you up well to continue these exercises and coaching and succeeding in the future. And so those are just kind of like our guided titles. But again, depending on your assessment results or what your goals are that we go over at the top of our calls, we can cater our coaching toward you and your spouse. And we kind of start with that with the free discovery call. And so if that's for you, you can look at our calendar. It says when we're available. You can click on a date and time and schedule a free discovery call with us right at marriagepuzzle.com on the homepage there. And I said, earlier we have 4 months before maternity leave, but that would be if you did the 8 sessions, coaching. You can accomplish marriage coaching in about 4 months if you are diligent on scheduling your calls and doing the exercises throughout. But like Thomas said, with session 7, with being financial, a lot of couples even add financial coaching on top of the marriage coaching. You could be working with us for, a year or however long you want for financial coaching. And so don't feel limited to the 4 months and then we're, kick you out of the nest.
Yeah.
But that's something that we would go over in the discovery call too, of what marriage coaching, financial coaching, different packages, what would be right for you in this season of life and how we can walk alongside of you and your spouse.
Yeah, and I just want to emphasize something you said about kicking people out of the nest. Our goal eventually is to kick you out of the nest.
Yeah,
we don't want you to become dependent on us. If you become dependent on us, we've failed as coaches. So we want to, if you decide to do any coaching, we want to be able to coach you, give you the tools to succeed, and then get you back out on your own. And that's our goal. That's our heart. And same goes with the financial side. If we do some deeper dives into financial coaching, same goes there. We don't want to have you as clients forever. We want to give you the tools, get you set up for success, whatever length of time that takes and whatever accountability you need to get there, and then get you working back on your own. So that's our heart. We don't want to keep you guys forever. We love you all, but we want anyone who starts coaching with us, we want you to eventually get back to being just a podcast listener. So
and with that, podcast is easy to share these days too. So, at the top of this episode, we said do I need marriage coaching? If you're listening to this, do I need marriage coaching? And only you and your spouse can answer yes or no. But you can share this with a friend and help them, ask, do I need marriage coaching? So we're all in this to help marriages succeed and thrive and be healthy and just be great. So if you have any questions that we didn't cover, you can chat with us on social media. Send us a DM on Instagram or message on Facebook. That's at Marriage Puzzle on those social media. Or like I said, if you're ready to jump on a free discovery call with us to see what package would be right for you guys, that's at marriagepuzzle.com.
Yep, and make sure check out the show notes to get the link to the date night templates that we'll throw in there. And as always, we look forward to you joining us next week, where together we'll work on marriage one puzzle piece at a time. See you later.
Bye.